Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, nako, magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome po sa ating program. Happy Thursday! Huwebes na naman ho, at ito ang gabi na, ano ho to, information at kaalaman ho sa legal, sa immigration ho, dito ho sa ating bansa rito. So welcome ho sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ho ng United Kingdom. At syempre, saan mang bahagi ho kayo ng mundo, welcome ho sa ating programa. Excited naman ako dahil makakasama natin yung pinakamamahal nating abogada. No? Pagka 1 week ho natin din nakikita, ka-social virtual bubble ho natin to. Beauty and brains din masasabi natin itong ating kasama ho. Mga kaibigan, I'd like to call on yung ating kasama every Thursday night, no? Para ho dito sa ating Immigration Corner, ang managing partner ng Douglas Simon Solicitor, so lang iba kundi si Attorney LIRA SIMON-CABATBAT. Attorney, magandang gabi. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, Sonny! And to everyone, ano? Kamusta? Okay ka?
Okay naman.
Feeling better?
Okay naman. Okay, well, I'm sorry?
Feeling better? Last time, hindi gano'ng magandang
I think,
karamdam mo, no?
yes. Oo. Pero feeling better. Perfect naman. Kita mo, naka-summer polo shirt, so feeling sunny ako ngayon.
We match!
Oh.
Tingnan mo, we're pink
Almost,
and
no? Di
pink.
ba?
No?
Color.
Tingnan mo.
Oh, yes. Oo nga. Oh, yeah. Kita mo si attorney. Oh, wow. Ayan. Oo nga naman. Oh. Parang ano yan. How would you describe this, attorney? Parang, how would you describe
I
itong
suppose.
color nito?
Well,
Parang
ako,
ano?
I would just call it pink. But, some people would say, I don't
Pink.
know, salmon. No? I think I would just say pink, no?
Oo. Pareho. We
Yeah.
have the same shade, no? Parang ano lang sa'yo.
Yeah.
Parang the darker side of it. Pero sa akin, yung parang lighter nga. Dahil nga summery feeling ako. Although, we're actually, ano na ngayon, di ba? Autumn na, fall, di ba?
Yeah,
So,
autumn
fall na
na.
ngayon, mga
Bilis,
kaibigan.
no?
Fall na ho rito sa amin. Autumn. Ito na yung panahon na nahuhulog na yung mga leaves, ganyan, no? Yan ang kagandahan nun. Ayun, no? So, how was your week naman? Kumusta ka naman? Ako naman, ano ba ang ginawa ko nung, the other shows. We did the Immigration Hour, natin last Monday, and then the weekend. What did I do weekend? I had to. There was this boxing match na hindi natuloy, sayang, attorney, no? To feature our kababayan in a World Championship fight, IBF World Flyweight Championship. What happened was,
Wow.
ang pangalan niya si Jason Mama against the new reigning IBF international flyweight champion. His name is Sonny Edwards with a U. Ako, Sonny kasi S-O
Oh,
ako no? Yeah, Sonny Edwards. And it was postponed. Reason being
bakit?
daw, there was an injury daw. May injury daw. Tapos ang reason, yung ankle sa paa ni, nung champion. And itong kasi kaibigan ko yung manager nung guy. He's the youngest attorney at the age of 24 yata, something. He's the world's youngest boxing manager and promoter. His name is
Wow.
John-Claude Manangkil, the son of a very good friend of ours. Her name is Sol Manangkil, and I could consider
Mm.
her as the tuna queen of General Santos City. General Santos City in the
Mm.
Philippines, in the south, in Mindanao, is known as the tuna capital of the Philippines because diyan bumabagsak yung tuna eh. And this
Mm-mm.
good friend of ours started from rags to riches, si Sol Manangkil, employed in a company that was, fishing company, the mga tuna, and eventually she made it on her own, very successful. And she's got 3 kids, 3 sons, yata, tama, 3 sons. Um eto hindi ko alam kung bunso si JC or nasa gitna, no? Pero he
Mm.
wanted to be a boxer. So ayaw ng mother niya, sabi niya sa kanya, anak, ayoko kang mabugbog ka. So gusto mo, kung gusto mo ma-involve pa rin diyan, mag-manager ka na lang to manage. So no, naging manager. So he became at the age of 18, 19, yata, 17, he was already a manager. And he's known all over the
Wow.
world now, no, in a way. But anyway, he came over. He has a fighter named si Mama. I forgot the first name again. Basta Mama, ang surname. Taga Jensen. So, dinala siya rito na may matchmaker na American matchmaker who organized the match. But syempre he has to kasi they cannot come from the Philippines straight because they will be quarantined for a long time. So, di ba? So
Yes.
what the strategy as suggested by the promoters dito yun. Ang promoter, if you have heard of Frank Warren, attorney? He's a renowned boxing
Yes.
promoter here. Yeah, Frank
Yeah.
Warren.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he has parang siyang promoter niyan anyway dito. Pero ang gusto ko lang sabihin, attorney, with all the expenses he had to go through via Dubai, Dubai. Doon muna daw parang magpahinog para pagdating dito hindi na masyadong naka-quarantine pa.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
ganon. But in the process, well, he spent more than 10 days yata doon, 11, 12. On the whole, with the cancellation, he lost money because he lost about $10,000 dahil hindi natuloy. So all he
Oh,
got was the purse money and the expenses, ang dami niya expenses na no, na ginastos. So kawawa naman, naawa ko. And that's what we were with him. Well, we had lunch and we saw him twice this weekend. Yun lang ang gusto kong sabihin na, that was how I spent my weekend. No? We were in, have you been to, attorney? Diyan sa Westfield, sa Stratford. Sa Olympic
oh,
Village,
hindi
malapit sa
pa.
Olympic venue. Oh, malaki-laki eh. Dito meron tayong Westfield sa dito sa atin sa may Shepherd's
Mm,
Bush. Okay, we have it there. Pero meron dalawang Westfield, isang nasa Stratford, where the Olympic Village is, or where the Olympic was held, no? Noong
mm.
2012, no? Yeah, and
Yeah.
luckily we were able to get in the Olympic Village because by virtue of being Pinoy Radio UK and a media practitioner, so we were able to have our badges for the Olympics, so we can go in
Wow.
and out. Yeah, yeah, that was such a wonderful experience, no? And we were eating at the Olympic Village, attorney. Ang laki-laki ng may mga tirahan where they would be staying, the athletes. But right next to it would be a huge, parang food house. So you will eat any
Wow.
food in the world. Lahat ng klase ng pagkain sa buong mundo andon. And we were enjoying. We
Talaga.
are really, yes, sarap talaga. Ang ganda, masarap. Kung kasama ka lang ng panahon ng Olympics, binigyan na kita ng ID ng Pinoy Radio, kaya nakakapasok ka. 'Di ba? Oh, 'di
Yeah,
ba?
yeah, I would,
So
yeah, I would have loved that.
you don't have to pay for any tickets or just to get in, no? So ayan.
Mm.
Okay. Well, I better go. How was your week naman? Last 7 days.
Oh,
How
oh.
was it?
Well, I mean, it's yeah, but before that, so anong has it been rescheduled yung boxing match?
Yes. They
Kailan?
were well. They saying it has to. It has to because the champion has to mandatorily defend his crown to the number one contender. And Jason Mama happens to be the number one contender. Yeah. So yeah, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be. They say initially they say either December or January would be
Okay.
wherein they do it again. Yeah. Parang ano. Pero ang ganda nun ha. It's the main title fight. Doon sa card,
Wow.
kunyari, di ba yung may main card, yeah, main card siya, and then there are undercards. That
Oh,
fight being an international boxing match, siya ang main fight, attorney, featuring a
wow.
Filipino. Sayang, hindi natuloy. Oh, hindi natuloy. So, yeah, no.
So proud.
Oh, yeah. We're proud,
Yeah.
no? Pero alam mo, sabi ko, tinanong ko doon sa yung kaibigan ko, yung anak ni Sol, yung best friend ko na Tuna Queen, sabihin na natin. Kaya daw eh. Kaya daw. Kaya nilang what they suspect is that baka hindi nakakuha sa timbang and they just made the excuse na there was an injury. Probably what happened was he had the difficulty that the Sonny Edwards was having difficulty in making weight. Kasi may weight yan eh. May
Mm.
mga weight limits yan, attorney, di ba? May mga weight limits. So, yan. So,
Okay.
yun, no. Ganun lang nangyari. So, okay, teka muna. Di ba we have a little game
Yes.
every show kung sino ang ating the total di ba sports parang Olympics meron tayong mga gold medalist silver medalist okay o teka muna sino ang hula mo sino ang pakiwari mo sa feeling mo ang magsusot ako sa lamin kasi titignan ko yung ating ang sino ang palagay mo how do you say this yung ating gold medalist maghulaan tayo walang dayaan
Gold medalist.
attorney
Okay,
walang
okay,
dayaan
okay. Yeah,
sige
yeah.
sino
Yeah,
ka
no, no,
sino
definitely,
ang iyong
definitely hindi po namin to alam, no? Oh, I think
sige,
I,
sige.
I'm going to go just because I was reading a little bit about the US today. I'm going to go with the wonderful Mr.
US.
Oliver. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, just
Oliver
because I
Fernandez.
just read, yeah, Oliver Fernandez. Ata, tingnan natin.
Okay, hindi, sige. Okay, kung Oliver Fernandez, sino kayo
Ikaw.
babae sa akin? Normally, dalawa lang yan eh. Dalawa contenders natin eh. Pero we would either have Miss Galicia, Marian Galicia Panero. O sige, I'll just go for Marian. Sige, I'll go for Marian.
Okay.
Tingnan natin,
Okay,
surprise to
tingnan
kay
natin.
Direk, no? Ready, Direk? Ayun.
Oh, well done. Oh,
Hindi mo malaman eh. You
well
can never
done.
tell. Sometimes it will be Oliver, sometimes it's going to be Marian. So tayo naman, we're just glad that we're having this little game. No, Marian, congratulations. I don't know how you guys do it. I'd like to talk to you. How is it? How do you do it? No? Paano nila ginagawa? Is it when we start playing the song? As soon as the first note, plays, do they say hello? No. So very intriguing, no? It's nice. Imagine mo without failure, attorney, andyan yung mga contenders natin. Without failure,
Yun,
imagine mo yan.
yun na nga.
Okay, sino ang
Oh,
second natin? Sino ang palagay mong ating bumati siya, sabi, hello po, pakibasa, attorney.
okay, yeah, yeah. So, hello po, magandang gabi po, Kuya Sonny and Attorney Lira. At sa lahat, happy Thursday po. Stay safe always and God bless us. Hi, Miss Paner. Sorry, I
Congratulations,
didn't go with you.
you've been going for her. The last, di ba? For mga past episodes natin. Ganun lang naman. This is just a little game. And perhaps the reason why, what swayed you towards saying the US is you read something about the US earlier, and you tried to associate it with Oliver, di ba? Baka thinking na, baka parang parang it's something hindi naman omen, kundi parang a hint, yan, di ba? Hint na
Tama,
it might
tama.
be him because you read something about America. Yan, o. O sige, sino ang silver medalist natin, attorney? So hulaan natin, sige, hulaan mo lang.
Okay.
Oliver kaya?
I'm going to stick with Oliver. Okay.
I guess, sige, si Oliver siguro tayo. Let's go for
Ikaw,
Oliver.
ikaw.
Go, well, Oliver na rin, Oliver ako. Kasi usually, yan,
Okay,
dalawa
okay.
na yan eh.
Sige, sige.
Okay, let's go for
All
that.
right.
Okay, go, Trek. Oy, bago to
Wow!
Bago to
Panibago. Yes, yes.
Bago to, attorney.
Sonia Padilla
Sonia.
Williams.
Yes. Oh, Sonia,
Yeah.
saan ka galing?
Yeah.
Bakit bigla ka sumulpot? Anong planeta ka galing? That's quite a surprise, a pleasant surprise. It's a nice surprise na, di ba? Not expecting to be one of the favorites, di ba?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. No,
taga
salamat.
saan ka?
Yeah.
Taga saan ka? Magaling yan. Taga saan daw siya? Good evening po, attorney and Kuya Sonny. Oo nga, Sonny. Miss Williams,
Mm,
sorry ha, parang we were kind of surprised, pleasantly, dahil you're not one of those favorites ones na hindi namin usual na nasa dun sa mga contending, di ba, contenders natin, no? Ba't kaya? Taga saan ka? And tell us, how long have you been watching or is it your first time to see us? Kasi, di ba, ang nakakatuwa, welcome to our program.
mm.
Welcome sa Immigration Corner. Ayan. Sino susunod natin? Sige, let's go with Bati-Bati. Sonia, don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. Ha?
Oh,
Sige. Hmm. Sino
okay.
yan?
Galing Kim. Marianne's being nice, no? So you're both looking
Yes.
good, tayo daw. Yeah, we're matching colors, no?
Yes. Oo, yes. Oo nga. Yung aking camera holder, biglang parang medyo, no? Ayan, sino ang susunod? Sino sa attorney? Uy,
There, meron na tayong
Kaya,
nakapasok.
kaya
Si Rose.
I like
Rose.
Thursday nights eh. Kaya I like Thursday nights eh. Sige, sige. Go, attorney. Yeah. Hmm.
Tama nga. Galing po ito kay Rose. Rose Canosa. Good evening,
Oo.
beautiful Attorney Lira and guwapo, Sir Sonny. Mabuhay sa mga kababayan natin. Happy Thursday
Happy
po.
Thursday.
Salamat, Rose.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mabuhay. Maraming salamat, sino yun? Ano pangalan? Si Canyosa, ano? It could be Canosa or it could be Canyosa, no? But sometimes kasi, di ba, yung mga yung N niya, yung Spanish N, hindi na
Yeah.
isusulat, di ba? So, mga N niya. Okay, next. Sige, go, attorney.
Yes, Mr. Lebron. Yeah, it's nice of you to
Rudy.
join us, ano? Yeah, happy
Yes.
Thursday. Blooming, ano? Attorney Lovely Lira and the coolest romantic Pinoy DJ UK, Sir Sonny, and all
Yes.
viewers. Enjoy watching from Belfast Team Libro. Kamusta
Team
po?
Libroho, yes. Mabuhay, Team Libroho. Oh, the family kasi that, and the daughter who is a very good writer, singer composer. Bibihira yun, some people just
So,
can sing, can sing, but others are the complete package because they can also compose songs, no? Meron nga may expression, may kanta na hindi ko alam kung asin yun or no. Sabi niya, hindi ka parang tunay na musikero hanggat parang wala kang nagawang kanta or something like that. And that would mean that yung daughter niya, si Mia, is really a complete
mm,
performer. That she can not only can she sing, but she can sing her songs. She can create songs, compose songs. Mabuhay
so
Mia, no? Team
talented.
Libro from Belfast. Yes, attorney.
Galing kay Erica. Erica Gregorio. Happy Thursday, Attorney Lira
Mm.
and Sir Sonny. Hi, Erica. Where you
Erica,
watching from, no?
mabuhay. Thanks for messaging. Thank you. Maraming salamat, no? Ayan, sino to? Uy, bago to. Parang ngayon ko lang nakita to. Have you seen this name before?
May.
May Flores?
May
May, mabuhay
Flores.
ka. First time mo bang manood?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen your name before, pero it's kind of for me lang. Or I might have or forgotten or it's slipped. I don't know. No? Pero taga saan ka? Are you one of our new viewers? No. Ayan. Oh. Ito yung hindi. She's
Lovely
surely
picture.
walang sakit. Ito wala siyang sakit, no, attorney. You know why? As always, no. Naka all caps eh.
Caps.
So
Yeah, yun na nga.
di ba?
Yeah.
Naka all caps siya. Yan. Oo. Emmeline, nasa ka na ngayon?
Yeah. So,
Nasaan ba siya ngayon?
yeah. Yeah, so yun nga. So, good evening, sabi niya. No? Good evening, Sonny and Attorney Lira and everyone. And you both looking great with your nice shirt, Sonny. And I
Wow,
hope
thank
it's
you. Thank you nga.
blooming, Attorney. Salamat po. No?
Oo.
Okay.
Mura lang
Okay.
yung shirt ko. Tawag dito, TU lang to. TU eh. Ano na, saan nabibilin TU? TU.
Two.
Mura lang ho to. Nice. But I like it. I like the color.
Yeah.
Parang no? It matches your color, attorney, di ba? Same shade,
Yun na
no?
nga.
Oo, same shade, yan. No? Uy, ano eh. Oh, sige, ano pa tang,
Oh,
sino
si
susunod?
Miss
Direct.
Paner.
Ano ba? Ang sabi ni Miss Panera.
So, Miss Paner, ang
Uy!
ganda namang tops mo, Attorney Lira. Pareho pa po kayong sa gwapong Kuya Sonny. I tell you what, I love Thursdays, ano? Ang
I love
babait nyo.
Thursdays as well.
Yeah,
I love
it's
them
so,
all.
they're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
kind. Yeah.
That's nice naman, attorney. Complimenting, di ba? Ako ganyan ugali ko eh. I want people, my friends, or whoever I know, to have a good day. And, I'll try to find something that's nice in them. It could be their shoes, your earrings, your hairdo, or your lipstick, or whatever. Anything that that's worth complimenting. Because you'd like, di ba? You'd like people to feel good at. And I'm nice if that rubs off those ating mga viewers na yung ganong attitude na ginagawa natin. No? So, well, thank you very much. Mabuhay sa inyo. Masarap naman yung mga inyong mga pagbati. Kaya pagka Thursday, dumodoble smile namin, lumalagpas sa tenga. No? So, lagpas ng
Yun na nga.
ear. Uy, nakita tuloy aking AirPods. Ayan, okay. Go ahead, attorney. Yeah, sino yan?
Okay. Galing po kay May Tigbao Vargas. Good evening po, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lira. Watching from Exeter, Devon. Happy Thursday po sa lahat. God bless. Hi, May.
I want to go there. I want to go to Devon. No, I don't know kung napunta na ako. This Devon, Exeter. Devon is a part of Exeter, Tony. Tama ba? Tama ba?
I
So,
think
yeah,
so, yeah.
pagka
Opo.
I don't know kung pwede pa mag-drive ngayon. Pero pwede pa. Kaya lang, papunta na tayo winter time, no? Autumn na eh. Okay, uy, si Sonia. Sabi niya, asan? Uy,
Yes.
Attorney, nag-ano
Yeah.
pala siya, nag-reply ka pa sa kanya. Sige, basahin mo, attorney.
Yeah. So thank you. That's galing po ito kay Sonia. Sonia Padilla Williams. Thank you, Attorney Lira, for replying on my email today. Yeah. Wala pong ano man.
Oy,
My pleasure. My pleasure.
wow, mabuhay ka. Sonia, kapangalan ko siya actually, you know why? Because I consider Sonia as my female name. So, kunyari
Ah.
ako sa Sunny, and then Sonia yung aking female counterpart. Yan, Sonia, kapangalan kita, Sonia. Taga rin siya, London.
Mm,
Hindi
you
po,
see.
sige, labas mo nga yan. Hindi daw siya first time nanood. Marami tayong mga silent viewers. Pero ngayon ko lang nakita pangalan mo. Ngayon ba o paano ba? Oo, kasi first time ko lang nakita yung name mo. Sonia, I don't know kung first time ko lang nakita, no? Okay. So, mabuhay kayo, no? If you have any questions, either you email attorney or you can also email us for any questions and then we can forward it to attorney, no? So, ayan. So, mabuhay ka, ano pangalan niya? Si Sonia William, ano pangalan niya? Ano pangalan niya, direct?
So,
Sonia,
Sonia Padilla Williams. No.
Padilla, Williams. Padilla Williams. Ang galing, no? Ang galing naman. Ayan, naku, nagyayabang siya. Ayan.
Wow. Abu
Wow,
Dhabi pa
talaga.
rin, ha? Yeah.
Hanggang kailan ka riyan? Hanggang kailan ka sa Abu Dhabi, Emeline? Let us know, no? Dahil ito from do you know where she lives, attorney? Sa tagal natin. Do you still remember where she's based?
Oh, I know she was going to Wandsworth at one point, pero hindi ko matandaan kung doon nga siya nakatira. She was traveling,
Wimbledon,
ano?
Wimbledon siya. No, Wimbledon
Wimbledon.
nakatira yan. And then at one time, the husband of her friend, taga High Barnet yata, namatay. And so she was there accompanying sinasamahan. And then the next time out, she was in Croatia. Tapos and then
Mm.
next nandun na siya sa Herzegovina ba yan? Boss, ewan ko saan yun. Na parang nag-day trip. Oh, ngayon nasa Abu Dhabi. Imagine mo, parang jet setting during the pandemic. Di ba? Tayo, hindi nga tayo makapag-jet set ng pandemic eh. Siya, kayang-kaya niya, di ba? Oo, yan. So
Yeah,
mabuhay
no,
ka,
she's
Emily, ha?
yeah.
Ingat. Mag-uwi ka ng ano ba maganda dyan sa Abu Dhabi? Uwian mo ko, ha? Maski anything, maski candy or anything, ha? Uwian mo ko. Ayan. Uy, ayun. Naku,
Wow.
sorry. Talagang sabi ko,
Okay.
tuloy kayo, kabayan. So wherever you're watching in the whole world and in Europe, welcome to our program. Sige. Sino yan?
Oo nga.
Ano
Salamat
pangalan
po.
niya?
So, Carl Liza Juan Christopher me. So, I think, watching
Miral
from
ba? Miral?
Sweden.
Yan.
Uh,
Evening.
yeah, yes, watching
Oh,
from Sweden. Good evening. Good evening po. Thank you for tuning in from Sweden, huh?
saan ka? Stockholm, Gothenburg, ano pa ba mga cities sa ano? Linköping. Diyan, siguro, I don't know, you can stay longer. I don't know, no? Totoo ba yan, Emmeline? Na dahil British passport ka and then you're there, so mas longer ang stay mo. Kasi ang haba ng stay niya eh. Hanggang ano, we're
Yeah.
talking more than 3 months, di ba? No?
Good thing, no?
Sonia, so sabi ni Sonia pa na nagtanong na po ako
Yeah. Okay.
dati sa inyo at I was advised to email attorney. So thankful for her reply po. Ba, she's so happy. Happy bunny, sabi nga nila, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Wala pong
Ayan.
anuman. It's my pleasure.
Ayan. Mabuhay, Sonia, kapangalan kita. Okay,
Thank you.
kapangalan sa babae. Okay, Carl Stad po. Ayun, Carl Liza. Ganun naman ang pangalan niya.
Karlstad.
Carl Stad. Ang pangalan niya, Carl Liza. Juan Christopher Miral ba yan? Uy, thank you. Paano ka naligaw dito?
Yeah.
Why, how come you're watching us, no? Kaya ikaw ba'y nanonood nung ating embassy nating kaibigan mo and then somehow you discovered the channel, itong Filipino TV Europe, and that's the reason why you're watching us, no? Ganun ba ang kwento niyan, ano? Carl Liza, haba, Christopher Miral yata, haba ng pangalan niya. So, yeah, okay. Meron tayong pagbati. Thanks for messaging. Sabi ni Sha Eroho, pakibasa attorney. Thank you for messaging,
Okay.
Sha.
Yeah, and lovely photo, no? Hello, Attorney Lira and Sir Sonny. Happy Thursday po. God bless. To you too, Sha, no? Look at that photo.
Oh.
Was that taken in the Philippines ba? Ang ganda, no? Look at that swimming pool.
Oh, hanggang masarap nakakaingit ng swimming, So yeah, thank you, Sha, for messaging. So, thank you very much. Carl, Liza, Juan, Christopher, Miral, sabi niya,
Oh.
anong Filipino community ano yan? Pakibasa, attorney, sige.
So, I'm admin and moderator sa Filipino community dito sa Sweden. Tumutulong din ako sa mga Pinoy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's so good of you, no?
Yung Carl's Bad ba yan? Carl's Dad, ano yan, malapit ba yan sa Stockholm? I've been there. I've been there many times kasi attorney, marami tayong mga kaibigan diyan. And the first paper that I published sa Scandinavia, yung Philippines Nordic. And I went
Ah,
around,
talaga.
so I've got so many friends there. Oh, yeah. Oo. Brad, Sunny, Liza lang, ano to?
So,
Brad, Sunny,
Sonny.
Brad.
Yun ang pangalan niya. Broad Sonny Liza lang ang name ko. Um, Nag-talk na tayo sa WhatsApp po. Matagal na tayong nag-usap. Okay. See, tapos
Okay,
na.
okay, aba.
Yeah, Broad Sonny
I am
Liza.
intrigued. I am intrigued. Talaga. Matagal tayo nag-usap sa WhatsApp. Okay, okay. Talaga, okay. That's nice. At least, di ba? Ang dami kong palang nakausap at nakilala. No? So, good. So, Liza, mabuhay ka. Ha? Hello, okay. Sige, siguro for this time being, direct, yan na muna ang ating last na muna pagbati. Sige, go ahead, attorney. Bago, we'll have a break and then we go to our topic for tonight, no? Domestic worker visas. Sige, pakibasa, attorney, yung last
Yeah.
message natin for the time being.
Yeah, but last but certainly not least, no, Susan
Yes.
Francisco Batong Bakal. Yeah, hello, Attorney Lira and Kuya Sonny. Happy Thursday to all and God bless. Hi, Susan. Hopefully okay ka, no?
Susan was one of our contenders, pero lately, mong nawala ka sa, dati nasa top 3 yan, top 2, top 1, no? Ganun. So, ayan, Susan, mabuhay ka. Okay, eto ho, ngayon, we're gonna be, ito, may napakagandang topic ho for tonight, domestic worker visa. So, pakinggan ho natin to, no? Yan ang pag-uusapan. Uh, you wanna give parang a teaser lang before we go into a break, attorney? Ano ba yan? What will
Yeah.
we be
So
discussing?
titingnan po na. Yeah, no, it can be quite it's obviously a very specific topic, no, domestic work visas. But it's a lot of people are still making inquiries. So we're going to visit the past, no, the present, and hopefully nga the future, no, of the domestic worker visa. So titingnan nga natin lahat yung past, present nga, and hopefully
Ah,
nga the future.
past, present, and future, how it was before, ganon, no? And then
How
how
it
it is
was,
now,
how
and
it is now,
how it will be,
and
and how it will be in the foreseeable future. Okay,
opo.
ayan, nadinig niyo ako si attorney, no? Very interesting to. Malalaman natin ang history nitong domestic worker visas. I would be very interested. I have my paper and pen to take notes. And sana kayo din, no? Okay, we're gonna have a short break. Magbabalik ko kami ni attorney. Huwag ko kayong kaalis dito sa ating Happy Thursday date or get together. Saglit po lamang.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
%100% all natural. Tasty. Healthy. Versatile. 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you. so you can be there for them.
Okay, balik na ho tayo sa ating programa dito ho sa Happy Thursday. Nako, maganda yung teaser ni attorney ha. Past, present, and future. So, alamin natin, di ba? Dahil marami kasi domestic worker visas. Marami sa ating mga kababayan, bago nagdagsa ng mga nurses, eh yan ho ang trabaho, no? So, yan, pag-usapan ho natin. At hindi lang ho ano yan, ha? Social ho mga yan. Mga domestic workers, akala nyo, domestic workers, pero dito sa London, naka-designer pa yan, designer clothes, talagang bonggang-bongga. Kung mag-attend ng mga parties yan, eh, ganun na lang. No? Talagang pasikata, pasiklaban. Attorney, good evening once again.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome sa ating show.
Welcome back,
Do you agree? Yung mga yan, ang mga domestic workers, they're
Yeah.
well paid dito. Di ba? Compared to a domestic worker in France, Italy, and Spain. And that's the reason why they're may dumadagsa pa, di ba? Are a lot of Filipinos, wala na ngayon. But during the time, when, nung wala pang yung itong nag-Brexit, maraming cases ng mga Pinoy from, say, Italy, France, or Spain coming over? May mga huge influx ba?
Yes. No, it's still very relevant nga, no? Domestic work visa. I mean, it's something actually, there's no given week where I don't have inquiries about domestic visas. And that's how relevant it still is nga ngayon, no? So it's still something that I think we need to always monitor, always keep an eye on, and always campaign for. Okay, so yun nga that's why gusto kong pag-usapan nga ngayon, the past, nga, the present, and what can we do for the future, no? Because I do think in the going forward, it is something that we can still campaign for.
Okay, so ayan. So sige, take it away, attorney. So we're going to be talking about domestic worker visas. So this is going to be broad, encompassing before, now, and hopefully in the future. Take it away, attorney.
Okay. Now, again, salamat po for tuning in. I hope that this is interesting for you. Pag-uusapan po natin ngayon, domestic worker visas. Now, wow, where to start, no? So let's have a look at the past, no? So ang luma pong batas, which actually changed on the 5th of April 2012. So in the past, until the 5th of April 2012, kung papasok kayo dito as a domestic worker in a private household, kailangan pakita at that time that you're working for an employer in a private household nga, so hindi pwedeng kumpanya, that you are full-time, that you're working in the household nga, you've been working for that employer a minimum of 1 year, and provided you can show all those, pagka nandito ka na, you intend also to work for the same employer, provided you can show all those, ang bibigay sa inyong visa dati is 6 months nga. During that time, you could at that point change employment, and then you can extend, no? And then as long as you keep extending nga until you have 5 years leave to remain on that same basis, after 5 years or shortly before the 5 years, pwede na kayo magpasok ng application for indefinite leave to remain. And that, of course, means settlement in the UK. Now, on top of that, under the old rules, kung meron kayong mga pamilya sa atin, sabihin natin, anak under the age of 18, and also asawa nga, no? You can also bring them into the United Kingdom. And there was no limit. You didn't need a job offer, for example, no, to change employment. You did not need permission at the time also to change employment. So maganda nga yung visa. And a lot of people enter the United Kingdom on that basis. And it was introduced really on the back of the exploitation that unfortunately was domestic workers were being subjected to before. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the campaign back in 1997, 1998 nga, that led then to the change, the domestic worker rule. No? And as I say, it was introduced because there were many occasions nga, many incidents that showed people who were coming into the UK as domestic workers who had then a kind of visitor type visa, no? Pagka nandito na sila, inaabuso sila ng employer o hindi sila binabayaran o sinasaktan nga. And then there were literally thousands of people in that position, overstayers nga sila. And at the time, the government saw fit, and rightly so, no, to change the rules. Initially nga, ang nangyari, it was a concession that was given to those who entered the UK. So hindi po amnesty, concession, who entered the United Kingdom as domestic workers, effectively visit visas nga at the time, yung nga lang kasama nilang employer, who were then subjected to abuse and who were working in the UK, continued to work in the UK as a domestic worker. Domestic work was quite wide, nga, and it included cooking, looking after children, even chauffeuring, no? Now, then it was introduced, as I say, eventually it became a rule, and that was, I believe it was 2002, it became part of the immigration rules. And for a while, until April 2012, so for about a decade, no? There were domestic workers who were coming in, and they knew if they were in the United Kingdom, kung may mangyari nga, inaabuso sila, pwede silang umalis, no? And that, I think, made a world of difference nga to protect those who were being potentially exploited and not have that ill treatment. Unfortunately, no, nagbago nga yun, yung batas on the 5th of April 2012. So anyone coming into the country, or rather making an application for entry clearance visa after the 5th of April 2012, so sabihin natin from the 6th of April 2012, nagbago yung batas. So that was the past, no? So let's deal with the present. Yeah, presently, pwede ka rin pumasok as a domestic worker. Yung nga lang, maximum visang bibigay 6 months. Pagka nandito na, hindi pwedeng magbago ng trabaho o ng employer. And you can't also extend, unfortunately, beyond 6 months. It is, you just can't, no? And I'll speak about the one exemption effectively, no? So, unfortunately, that also means hindi mo pwedeng kunin pamilya dito, and as I say, there's no extension beyond 6 months, which means you can't then, it's not the type of visa that leads then to settlement. So, so people who entered the UK or have applied for entry clearance visa to the United Kingdom on or after the 6th of April 2012, yung panibagong batas. So, the majority or everyone coming in, obviously after that time, are faced with a rather unfortunate change rule. And even now, as I say, there's not 1 week goes by without inquiries, without me getting inquiries about someone who's entered the UK as a domestic worker, and they want them to extend their visa or have find themselves in a very difficult position because they want to leave the employer because of ill treatment. But unfortunately, at the moment, the present situation is no more than 6 months, can't change employment, and because of that, can't bring family into the United Kingdom, cannot then lead to indefinite leave to remain for settlement status, for example. No. Now, there is, however, an exemption, kind of an exemption. No. So, if you entered the UK as a domestic worker, overseas domestic worker, and you were abused by your employer, no, then you can make a claim potentially under the anti-slavery provisions. So if you have been a victim of modern slavery or human trafficking, yung tawag, no? If you have, then and you follow the process, and that would mean, so briefly, the process would be you are then referred, no, to certain organizations. So, for example, one would be the Salvation Army. No, they're called first responder organizations. You can then be referred to the Home Office effectively. Pero ang tawag single competent authority, SCA, no? Now, if you then refer, then they can investigate whether or not you're actually likely to be a victim of modern slavery. And if you're able to show that you are, you have been subjected to that, then it could be that you get a visa of no more than 2 years. No? During that time, you still need to work as a domestic worker nga, but at least you're able to stay in the UK, work quite properly, change employment in the UK, but it is a maximum of 2 years. Now, if before the expiration of that visa, magbago nga ang sitwasyon nyo, sabihin natin, you meet someone, you want to get married, or something else, you then want to change under the points-based system, then it's a possibility. But you need to show, as I say, that you have been subjected to, effectively, that you come under the anti-slavery provisions. But at the moment, that's the only, if you like, exemption. Now, a question I'm often also asked is whether the domestic work visa whether you can get domestic work visa under the points-based system, if you remember, points-based system po you need to satisfy 75 points, job offer, for example, and English language, income, ganon. Unfortunately, domestic work visa is not part of the points-based system. It's and I can't really see that it will be part of the points-based system anytime soon. But you can't apply under the points-based system a skilled worker route effectively, as a domestic worker. So hindi po yung pwede. Now, so we've dealt with the past and the unfortunate present. Let's look at the future, Now, I do think, and certainly I cannot see that that it's less deserving than others. I do think that it is still very important that we campaign for a change to dealing with the domestic worker rule. I still cannot see the justification, frankly, for changing it to the current situation. To bind someone for that time in the UK, I think it's just it opens people up to exploitation, and of course that should not happen. And it's not that pagka nandito sila wala silang trabaho, wala that if you in the past you work as a domestic worker, you earn, and of course you keep yourself as a domestic worker, and that it's not an easy job, I mean, yung mga taong nanonood ngayon who are in that employment, of course, the first thing they will say is it's just not an easy job. It is actually skills, it's skilled employment. So I think actually for the future, we should continue to make representations to our MPs, to change back the law that was working very well back in 2012, and there was no reason then to have changed it. I mean, a lot is made about, of course, the importance of human rights, the importance of respecting people's integrity in the United Kingdom, the importance also of employment and employment rights in the United Kingdom, and that people, of course, should not be subjected to exploitation. So why then should the government not look at the changing back to the domestic worker rule? And I think it is worthwhile writing to our MPs saying exactly that, and maybe also making contact with organizations, that assist domestic workers and who can provide documentary, statistics also in support. So Hestia is one. It's a very good organization and actually from their website, makikita nyo, it was apparently the Global Slavery Index indicated in 2016 that there are as many as 136,000 victims of modern slavery in any one day in the United Kingdom. I mean, that's appalling. No? So the future and the present is not great, but we can change that. And I hope that we're able to campaign, assist and actually change it. I think it is something that we should take up and get it back to how it was before, which was a fair and proper way of dealing with people who are entering the UK as domestic workers. But for you who are here at the moment with domestic work visa, it's not great news. Pero wag kayo kung may nga problema, don't just give up. Seek advice, because it could be the situation is something that could be dealt with or should be dealt with under the modern slavery provisions, or it could be something else. No? So seek advice. I think that's important. So hopefully that was
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Teka muna, attorney. So before prior to April 2012, people ba? Correct me if I'm wrong, pero well, not correct me if I'm wrong. Is my impression that people can just come in on a visitor's visa, find employment? Nung araw ba? Ganun po pwede yun? Was that a possible route?
No, not
How
quite.
is it?
So,
How is it? Not quite.
so
Okay. Sige,
yeah. So
pakilinaw.
before before the 5th up until the 5th of April 2012, no. So if you are working already as a domestic worker, sabihin natin nasa Pinas ka o sa Singapore, Dubai, ano man, no. And you're coming into the United Kingdom as a domestic worker, dahil sasamahan mo nga yung employer mo o nandito na sila, no. Then as long as you can show you were working for that household a minimum of 1 year, full-time ka, domestic employment ka, pagka nandito ka na, sapat ang pera nga nila for you, and of course you are going to continue working for them. If you can show all those, no, and you're over the age of 19, as long as you can show all those, ang visang bibigay sa'yo, domestic work visa. Pagka nandito ka na, noon mo pwedeng palitan kung kailangan mo.
Doon mo kailangan palitan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
kung gusto mo.
Pinasok mo, you were with your employer, at least a minimum of 1 year that you've worked with them. Sinama ka rito, ganyan. Ano yung word na kung gusto mo ng palitan? What does it refer to?
Okay. So pagka nandito ka na, tapos sabihin natin hindi ka nagkasunduan, gusto mo nga lang palitan employment mo, no? You don't have to show abuse and exploitation. Pagka nandito ka na, pwede mo palitan. And some do. Actually, a lot did not, no? They just continued working for the same employer because they were very happy with them. But those people who are unhappy, partly, I think mainly actually, dahil mas maangang trato sa kanila, they could change, no? And that was the whole point of the domestic worker rule when it was introduced.
Maganda pala before, no, attorney, no? But you have to make sure. What if there's a lull, a gap, or something? Parang you can change employers. So dapat when you leave the employer because you don't like the employer, you're abused. So maluwag noon, which is a very ideal situation ng araw, di ba? Prior to April 6, 2012, di ba? Tama ba yan? During that time, ideal. So ang nangyari, say you're not happy with your employer, can you just leave? And if in leaving you have a lull, a gap, and then syempre you're looking for another employer, would that affect the person, or merong maluwag ba ang rule nung araw, ang regulations? Because if I were to switch, I'll make sure makakapag-switch ako, para at least, diba, I'm still covered by the law, no? Pasok pa rin ako ron. Pero are there cases where nagkaroon ng gap? Because, ginugulpe o pinahirapan, di pinapakain na maayos, di sinusweldoan na maayos, umalis. What's the situation of that kind of a situation before? Ano yan? How was it before? Tumakas o umalis? May gap na 1 month, walang trabaho. Paano yan?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's actually a situation that I encountered quite frequently, especially kung sinasaktan nga sila o kaya aabuso, and it's just not easy, of course, no, to go from that situation tapos no panibagong trabaho. And oftentimes, pagka umalis sila, wala silang wala silang kasama, wala silang pera. So it takes a while to then find employment. Kung yung nga nangyari, in the representations that I made na to the Home Office, I simply explained kung may gap. I explained that hindi nga niya kasalanan. This is actually what had happened, no? And I don't actually recall even one situation that my client was refused just because of a gap. You know? Usually, there's not a lot of gap. Dahil nga, kailangan lang kumita. No? And so most of the time, bago sila aalis, magpapaalam maigi, and then they get, of course, they get employment. No? So meron ng sasalo. So it's... but when there were gaps, as I say, not once have I had a client refused just because of a gap. I mean, it's also a question of fact, no? If it's kung malaki nga yung gap, say, because the domestic work visa is 1 year usually. So if you don't have employment for say 10 months of the year, then they become concerned. But most of the time, of course, people are working before as soon as they're able to.
Okay, you mentioned about concession, no? Nagkaroon ng concession, not an, ano yung another word, yung may word tayo dyan, parang, hindi naman yawa. Yung,
Amnesty.
Amnesty, no, sorry, concession. What, you said concession, were people coming over on a visitor's visa and finding employment and eventually being successful, and they were able to get domestic visa, domestic visas? Nagkaroon ba ng mga ganun kwento?
Well, I mean, nung unang-una, before actually the domestic worker concession back in 1997, July 1997, which continued for about 18 months nga before it became a rule. Before then, mga tao, pag pumapasok sila dito, it was really more of a glorified visit visa. So basically, bibigyan sila ng visa to visit with the employer, knowing full well na pagka nandito sila, nagtatrabaho nga sila for that employer, you see. And so what happened often was, yung mga tao, pagka nandito na nga sila, inaabuso, no? O hindi binabayaran, o sinasaktan nga. And that just, the people who were affected, that there was no recourse to them. Pagka nandito na sila, themselves in that impossible situation, or do you continue putting up with abuse, or do you leave knowing na you won't get a visa, no? Because it was a glorified visit visa. So it wasn't a question of visitor tapos changing. Nandito sila in a glorified type of visitor visa just because that was the only option dahil yung sinasamahan nila yung employer nga dito.
Linawin ko lang, attorney. So it was not actually, okay, so ang requirement is that they should have at least worked for about a year sa household na yun. So some of the employers will bring them over. So ang nangyayari, it's not actually a visa. It's a 1 year parang visa, parang visitor's visa, parang silang visitor's visa, ganun? No 1 year? Na parang ganun, ganun?
Yeah.
Oo.
Yun ang luma, but that was only 6 months.
What do you mean that was only 6 months?
So, like a visit visa, 6 months nga lang ang usually bibigay sa kanilang visa dito.
Yeah.
That was back in,
like it.
Yeah. In those days, no?
All right. So, 1998, 99 domestic worker rule. Okay. So ngayon, a big change happened. Why did it happen? Now they can have a maximum of only 6 months, and then they could not renew it. They cannot extend beyond 6 months. In the previous one, you mentioned they can get their families. Say, for example, okay, they worked with the company, with the family about a year before they were brought over. How strong was it? How strong is yung possibility or yung way of getting their family over? Nadadala ba nila? While
Yes,
working
absolutely.
nadadala? Okay.
Yeah. So, it was part of the rules actually, no? Na kung domestic work visa ka dito, may visa ka pa, gusto mong kunin yung pamilya mo. This is, of course, we're looking at the past, no? Just for those joining us, I'm unfortunately not talking about the present. I'm talking about the past, no? So
The past, yes, yes.
it was so it was part of the immigration rules po. So kung may visa ka, domestic visa ka, kahit nga lang 1 taon, no? Gusto mo kunin yung asawa mo, anak mo under 18, if they're your dependents, pwede. And they enter then the United Kingdom as your dependents of domestic work visa holder, no? Pagka nandito na sila, so ang visa nila, ang bibigay sa kanilang visa, it tallies with the domestic worker nga dito. Pagka magpapasok na yung domestic worker to extend her visa or his visa nga in the UK, then kasama nga yung pamilya. No? So every time she applies to extend, kasama nga sila. When she applies for indefinite leave to remain, again kasama nga sila. So it was a very, very good visa to have.
Maganda, no? Inabot ko, attorney, yung 4 years lang, meron ka ng ILR, no? So itong mga ito, how do you count the ILR? When is it counted? Is it counted on, although they were employed, for example, when the family was abroad, and when does it start on the time that from the time that they first set foot in the UK, and then you count
Yes.
4 years, ganun ba?
Yun nga,
Okay.
yun. So, yeah.
So, marami disadvantages. So, bakit, I don't know kung naitanong, sinagot mo, baka I was no? Bakit, why did this come about? Bakit binago? Bakit, so maganda noon. Ngayon, parang, why? Because of too much migration? Too much, bakit binago? Ngayon, you cannot extend. That's maximum 6 months, no? They can still come in, but they can't get a family. They cannot have, it can't lead to ILR. Anong rationale behind ito? Bakit binago? From April 6
It doesn't,
onwards, April 2012.
yeah. I mean, what was stated nga as reason or reasons, I don't think were necessarily the case, no? So, ang unang sabi nila, it was question of the points-based system was introduced, and there you had to show nga skills, so skill sets, skilled people coming into the United Kingdom. And basically, they were saying that if you enter in the UK as a domestic worker, it's not a skilled employment. No, a lot of domestic workers, I'm sure, would disagree, because of course, it is a skill to be able to look after, a home, look after the children at the same time, look after, of course, vulnerable people in the United Kingdom. But okay, so that's the predominant thing na sabi nga nila. It's the points-based people should come in under the points-based system. Domestic workers are outside the points-based system, and therefore that's not something that they want not to continue. No, it was not questioned. I cannot imagine there was a question nga no, daming taong pumapasok dito as domestic workers, because there were not that many. No, because you need to look at kailangan una. They're out of the UK. They've been working for the same employer nga a minimum of 1 year. In that household. Tapos dadalin nga sila dito, no? So there were many restrictions to begin with. So it wasn't a question suddenly of galing sa Pinas, for example, gusto niyang pumasok dito as a domestic worker and comes in as a domestic worker. It was not a question of that. So there were actually very limited people entering with this type of visa, far less. I can't give you the numbers now, but far less than those people who are coming into the United Kingdom even then under the points-based system. No, I think my take on it, I think, is I suspect na the employers or some employers found nga na pagka nandito nga na yung employee nila dahil masama ang trato, or they just didn't want to work for the same employer anymore, that the employee, the domestic worker, was then leaving the employment. No, so I think there were probably representations on behalf of the employers from abroad coming into the UK, and that they expressed concerns that yung mga employee nga nila, domestic workers, were leaving their employment when they're in the United Kingdom. I think it was probably more that than anything else. But okay, that was not the stated rationale for the change in the rules.
And so, can we say na parang dwindling na yung ganyang mga klase ng mga work na pumapasok? Because Mahigpit eh. Because, they only have, say, for example, the employer brings them over, maiksi lang, 6 months lang, and then by time, di ba? You cannot extend it, no? And, yun nga, yung mga, uh, ang pwede lang, naririnig ko, marami ako namimit, attorney, yung mga tumatakas, yung takas-takas daw, mga employer nila is from Saudi Arabia or from the Middle East, and then, na tumatakas na lang, no? So, yun, still ma-maintain. Are there still cases of that? Like, for example, mga kababayan natin who were brought over by their employers na mga Middle East based, and then yun nga, tumatakas because hindi sila uh, na tinatrato na maayos. The reason why I'm asking is, apparently, if you look at this, itong bago ngayon, yung after 6 April onwards, 2012, parang domestic helpers are going to be a rare breed, and what we have are the ones who's been here, who were able to enter prior to the 6th of April 2012. Yun ang iniisip ko lang. Is it a situation?
You're right, Sonny. No, it's the sad thing is, my experience certainly is, people are still coming in, as domestic workers because they're accompanying their employers in the UK. The vast majority of employers are good people, no, and they're fair, and they treat their employees, domestic workers, for example, with fairness and kindness, no. But there are those who are just not treating people well. No? Now, what the sad thing is, it will go back to the situation that we had before. Before we were able to successfully campaign for the domestic worker concession back in July 1997. So people who are coming in as domestic workers being badly treated in the United Kingdom, and then a choice is either stay in the UK or stay in that abusive employment, even if it's that short space of time. There will again be people who are just they find themselves without a visa, and again a bottleneck. So we will find, I think, in not too long from now, exactly the same situation and exactly the same amount of people, which could run into thousands, na wala nga silang visa because they can't change employment in the UK. So we are back to the pre-1997 horrible situation. And in interviewing some of the domestic workers at the time, the behavior and incidents that they've had to put up with them were appalling. So it doesn't make sense. Tama ka, no? The rationale is not really there's no real logic, to change over, I think, from how it was to now, so that we find ourselves back to how it was.
Very intriguing tong topic na ito. We can dwell on it siguro may part 2, part 3, part 4. Maganda ito, very interesting tong domestic worker visas, no. Okay, teka muna, let's make way for some questions. I know may mga questions yung ating mga nandiyan sa ating message board, no. But in the meantime, let's make way for this question sent to us by Sonia rin yata. Sonia ba to? Sonla. Go ahead, attorney, pakibasa lang.
Okay, galing po to kay Sonia S. So, hi po sa inyo, Attorney Lira and Sonny. 3 years ago, nagpunta po kami dito sa UK, galing sa US with tourist visa. Overstay po kami dahil sa condition ng anak ko, at dito din po kami nakakita ng magaling na gagamot sa kanya dahil meron po siyang cerebral injuries since birth. Ano pong pwede naming gawing mag-asawa para makapanatili na dito sa UK? Okay, Sonia. There are a number of problems there. Ang una po, of course, is you are now overstayer ka na nga dito. Now, 3 years is obviously not a long time to be in the United Kingdom. But if it's to do with yung anak mo na may sakit nga siya, and you can show that the treatment can only be obtained or continue nga in the United Kingdom, then you may have a case actually on human rights grounds, no? Because to leave, siguro sasabihin mo, to leave the United Kingdom means that you are putting in danger, if not curtailing, no, the life of your child. So there could an argument could possibly be made on private life, no, human rights nga, which is under Article 8, and indeed the just the curtailment of life, enjoyment nga of life. So ang payo ko, so it's don't despair, Sonia, no. I think ito, especially given the background to your case, you should seek advice. I'm happy, of course, to provide it, but you should seek advice. Don't make any application muna without seeking advice, because it could be that there are various things that you can be advised on. It could be that better to wait a little bit or make an application now, or you need some evidence nga in order to support your application now. So my quick answer to your very good question nga is seek advice po muna before doing anything, because it looks like it's something that you could potentially make submit and successfully obtain visa on human rights grounds. But that depends, as I say, kung ano nga sitwasyon mo. But I'm happy to point you in the right direction though. Email me your direct email, Sonia, if you want a little bit more help. Or bigyan mo sa akin number mo and pwede natin pag-usapan.
Okay. Ayan. All right. Attorney, siguro, direct, tuloy natin yung some of the greetings earlier, tuloy-tuloy na. Tapos, along the way yata may some questions na nandito. We also have another question that was sent in, pero let's continue on with the, yung mga messages natin direct. Tuloy natin yung pinakahuli. Ituloy mo doon sa huling message na natapos tayo. Sino ba yung nating huli? And then sunod-sunod na to, attorney. May mga questions
okay.
kasi tayo. Yung before yata? Sige, pinakauna-una bago tayo na gano'n. Tuloy-tuloy lang natin yung mga pagbati natin. Asa na ba yan? Ayan, so tuloy, sige, talos mo.
Yeah.
Susan.
Susan.
Ito, 3 hours to Stockholm. 3 hours to Stockholm. Ano yan? 3 hours Oslo. 3 hours yung lugar niya. Carlsbad, no? Sabi niya, no? 3 hours to Gothenburg. Ba, nasa gitna. Very, strategic yung lugar mo, no? Okay, ayan, sige. Go ahead. Ayan. Domestic working visa in Sweden is also allowed to apply. Okay. The last salary should be like a normal worker, at least salary offered at 22,000 required by the immigration. This type of working visa is the same as all other working visas with same rights. After 4 years employed, then you are qualified to apply permanent residence, and after the 5th year, you are qualified to apply as a Sweden citizen. Pareho lang sa atin dito. Noong araw ako, inabot ko 4 years bago on the 5th year citizen ka na, no? Okay lang, parang nag-comment lang siya, attorney, just to let us know what the situation is in Sweden. Okay,
it's interesting.
It's interesting.
So galing po ito kay Mariano.
Pakibasa, attorney.
Ganyan po ang pagpasok ko dito sa UK as domestic worker. And thank God I'm going to get my naturalization soon. Yeah, tingnan mo, no? I mean, it's you have here a prime example. Miss Paner is obviously hardworking, no? She's she's been paying tax, I'm sure, all this time, no? Been a very positive contribution to the UK, and I suspect she's probably witnessed, if not, also experienced bad treatment potentially. So thanks for sharing that, Miss Paner.
Wednesday of last week, attorney, may nakasabay ako kasi malapit sa may Queen, hindi ko alam kung Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mary, yung isang hospital malapit sa katapat ng Roehampton University of Roehampton. May nakasabay ako, ano pa? Viewer natin, attorney. Si ano pangalan to? Yeah, but she came over, mass comm graduate siya sa pamantasan ng lungsod ng Manila, and then she worked at the City Hall of Manila for a casual ang tawag na din, mga ganun, And then she was able to go to Saudi Arabia yata. And then the employer came over, sinama siya. Tapos tumakas siya. Um, Ayun, tawag dito, yun nga, as a domestic worker, so successful din siya, naayos niya yung papel niya. Well, naalala ko lang kasi binanggit ni
Mm.
Marian. No? I don't know how Marian did it, no, kung paano ang sitwasyon ni Marian. So, yeah. Okay, pakibasa, ano yung susunod natin? Just, ano siya?
Uh, just live, don't mind. Okay. Hello po, ma'am, sir.
Oo.
Pwede po bang mag-apply diyan dito po magmula sa Ukraine? Yeah. You can, of course,
Pwede.
no?
Depende sa ano yan.
As
Ano ba
well.
yun? Yung mga work na, ano ba yung sinasabi mo, attorney? Yung points-based system na, ano? Ganun ba?
Yeah.
Sa tier, ano
Yeah.
ang tier nga
So,
uli yun? Ano? Mm?
So skilled worker route. So
Skilled worker route,
it doesn't
okay.
matter kung sa yeah, so wherever country you're coming from, no? Kung Pilipino ka, nasa
Mm.
Ukraine ka, you can make an application of course from the Ukraine. Yung nga lang, kailangan mo tingnan is called points-based system po, no? And in your case specifically siguro yung skilled worker route, no? And some employment nga are shortage occupation. So nurses, of course, as usual nga, doctors, senior care workers, no, welders, no. Tingnan mo, it's yes, so you can, but it's a question nga kung anong gagawin mo nga dito, trabaho.
Ayan. Oo, depende sa trabaho. It's just, you can come over as long as yata, yun, sinasabi ni attorney, merong yatang listahan ng mga shortage workers list, no? Kung pasok doon yung skill mo, yung competency mo, then pwede, attorney siguro, no? Pwede siya mag-apply
Yeah,
via the workers
yeah,
work,
yeah.
so skilled workers route, pero points-based system yan. May mga puntos.
Yun na nga.
Okay, si Carl yata, si Carl, may message ba si Carl Liza? Si Liza,
Yeah,
yan,
no, I mean,
sabi niya,
yeah, so Carl Liza,
ano sabi
yeah,
niya?
I mean, ang input niya, I find fascinating because, of course, there's no reason why the UK can't also adopt the same thing. So sabi niya dito, working visa here in Sweden is always granted for 2 years, and then you can extend for another 2 years. You can find another employer, and you can even bring family and can avail the same rights as others. We don't have a category as skilled worker. Yeah, but if the same thing is applied, so basically, if they want to include
Maganda.
domestic
Maganda sa Sweden,
workers
no?
under the skilled worker route, I'm sure that could also work, no? No reason why not, and I think they should, no?
Pagka ganyan, okay, so you're working in Sweden, employer mo, syempre, Swedish. How do you communicate ngayon, Eliza? English ba kayo mag-usap? English? Kasi di ba, they say, ito hindi sa domestic workers, they say the disadvantage of our Pinoy's kababayan, let's say, mga sa France, sa Italy, sa Spain, yung fluency of the language, if they lack the fluency of the language, they cannot find yung mga choice, yung mga, ano tayo dito, yung mga choice jobs or yung mga good jobs, no? So, diyan ba, how do you communicate sa employer mo? No, English or I don't know how it is. No, are you forced or obliged to obligated to learn Swedish? No, ano lang, curious lang ako. No, it's getting to know how you guys are diyan. Kumusta kayo diyan sa Sweden, ha? Mabuhay. Okay, sige, Marian Galisa Paner, sige, maganda to, mga reaction. Sige.
Okay. Ganun po ako dati. Dinala po ako dito ng family friend ko. Tapos lumipat sila sa Australia. That time wala pong work visa permit sa Australia. So iniwan ako sa close friend niya dito sa UK. So thank God na nag-apply po ako ng naturalization soon. Yeah, well, you one of the lucky ones, no, Miss
Kailan yan?
Paner, na
Kailan ka,
nakapasok ka nga dito.
if you were to surmise a guess, when was the time that she entered? Because was it maluwag prior to 2012? Or
Must have
after
been before
2012
2012.
na? Overstaying ka na siguro pagka gano'n, di ba? Overstaying
No,
visitors.
um,
Did you,
I,
yeah, you go ahead, attorney.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess. I mean, obviously, before the 5th of April, 2012, no. So you've been here a while, no, Miss Paner. So yeah, as I say, she's prime example of someone who obviously, is making a very positive contribution. I know started off with
Yeah.
domestic work visa in the UK. No.
Hindi yata domestic worker visa. At sinama ba siya ng friend niya under a domestic visa siguro. Parang yung friend niya ang nag-employ sa kanya. Ganun ba lumalabas sa'yo, Marian? And then iniwan ka,
Yeah, I
punta ng
mean,
Australia.
yeah.
Ganun
So
ba yan?
I suspect they were probably no, she treated them as a friend, no? So she was probably lucky
Okay.
na she had a good employer and she considered obviously as a friend. So well done, no, Miss
Sige,
Paner?
sige, sunod-sunodin natin yan, direct, para lahat na yan, ipasok na natin one by one, sequence. So sige, basahin natin. Sino sumunod na, sige, si Milyares
Milares.
Pantoja ba? Okay, Milyares Pantoja. Sige,
Yeah.
anong message niya?
Hi sis, how many years na po kayo dito? Nag-apply po ba kayo agad?
Agad, yan, nagtatanong siya.
So I
So,
think
yan,
she's
nagtatanong lang. They're
so,
messaging among themselves siguro, nagtatanungan dahil base. Miraes
yeah.
Pantoja, ano sunagot niya?
Yeah, dati po renew lang
Miraes
namin.
Pantoja, dahil po renew, dati po renew po lang po kami ng renew, then this year lang po ako nag-apply. Okay. Alright, tapos nagpasalamat siya niya. Milares Pantoja Ara, maraming salamat. Ayan. Sonia Padilla Williams, Milares, are you okay? Are you, Ara, okay? Okay po, you're welcome po kasi
Welcome.
napasa ko na po yung 2 years type exam.
Mm.
Yung siguro 2 years type, ano ba 2 years type? 2 types siguro ng exam. Yung sinasabi mo,
Life in the
attorney, na
UK,
life in the UK
tsaka
test
English
and
language.
the English. English language test, okay. Ayan, sige. Very thankful si Sonia. So grateful, attorney. I will reply
Yeah.
on your email po. Ayun.
Yeah, do Miss
Meka
Williams
Mika.
dahil yeah.
Yeah,
Meka
Miss
Mika
Williams.
nandyan ba? Okay.
Sabi ni
Yeah.
Meka Mika,
Hi
ano sabi niya?
Meka.
Sorry. May message siya, hindi ko
Late
maano.
po ako. So,
Oo.
sorry late po
Late
ako.
po ako.
Magandang gabi po. Yeah, Sir Legendary Sonny and Attorney Gandang Lira. At sa lahat ng
Parang si
viewers, happy
Edgar
Thursday.
Dua yan, no? Happy Thursday, Mecca. Buti at nakahabol ka ba, no? Pero, just the same, guys, when you missed the earlier part, you can just watch it again, no? Sige. Okay. Opo, napakabait. Saan to? Marian Galiza. Opo, napakabait po lahat sila. And then until now, napakabait din nila and very supportive po nila sa akin sa legal with solicitor. I'm very happy to stay in the UK. Yeah, definitely. We love the UK. No? Ayan. Sino susunod? Sino? Attorney, pakibasa. Hindi ko alam kung ikaw nakakita.
Yeah,
Wala bumot ako eh.
Milares. Yeah, Pantoja Ara. So, hi po, Attorney Lira and Attorney Sonny. Pumasok po ako dito as domestic. And umalis ako 7 years ago na ako dito. Mahigit.
Sa amo ko.
No?
Umalis po ako sa amo ko. Yeah, 7 years.
Sa amo ko. 7 years na po ako dito mahigit. Ano po bang maganda kong gawin para makabisa po ako? Thank you for your advice. I mean, this is prime example po ito, no? There's no choice, no? Either alisin nga niya or stuck. Overstayer na nga siya dito. So, ang payo ko, look, matagal ka na dito, yun ang unang-una, no? And you probably have established a private life, family life in the UK. So, Milares, ang gawin mo, tawagan mo ako bukas, no? And we can have a quick chat about it. And I'm happy to point you in hopefully the right direction nga, no? Kung meron kang kailangang gawin, things to watch out for. Call me tomorrow or email me. Email me with your number and I'll call you.
Ayan. Okay. So, anyway, asan siya ngayon? In limbo ba yung yung visa niya, yung kanyang status, attorney? In limbo, no? Okay. Yeah. All right. So, ito si Liza uli. Sinabi tayo, tinatanong ko, how does she converse with her? No? Yes, English po, no language required. Okay, good. Pero marunong ka naman ng Swedish. Paano kung sumakay ka ng bus? How do you buy anything, di ba? How do you ask for directions, di ba? So, si Maris Mendez, no? Cute naman, have a happy, sabi niya, have a happy Thursday to all. Yun, mabuhay kayo.
Yeah.
Mabuhay, Maris, no? Okay, sino susunod natin yan? Ayan, since
2006 po, dinala po ako ng family friend na nurse.
Family friend na nurse. Okay. Ayan, Ayan. Si Milares, ayan. Okay po, thank you po. Okay daw po. Baka siguro she'll get in touch or email you her number, no? Yan ba yung si Milares?
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, okay. Ito, meron tayong another question dito. Attorney, sige, kay Lou yata to. Go ahead, direct, pakilang.
Okay. Galing po to kay Lupi, no? Magandang gabi,
Mhm.
Attorney Lira and Sonny. Meron po akong negosyo dito sa UK na masasabi ko pong successful dahil pinagpagurang ko nga ko pong maitaguyod, no? Isa din po akong respetadong leader ng community. My problem is, I'm illegal here. I'm very worried na baka mawala po yung pinaghirapan ko once ma-discover nilang status ko. Ano pa pwede kong gawin? Look, I mean, congratulations, no? I mean, it must have been, talaga, it's kudos to you, no? Na despite nga all the restrictions, you've achieved what you've achieved, no? Pero kung I'm assuming na matagal ka na nga din dito, kung matagal ka na dito, may pamilya ka dito, sabihin natin, you clearly are respected, part of the Filipino community nga, it could be na meron kang kaso, again, potentially under the Human Rights Act, no, Article 8, which is right to family, private life nga. So, it doesn't hurt. Ang payo kung unang-unang gawin mo, seek advice. If you need my assistance, happy of course to provide it, no? And then whoever you see, me or anyone else nga, whatever your questions nga are, it will be completely confidential. So wag kang mag-alala nga doon na somehow yung status, your problem is going to travel. That should not ever be the case nga. So kung kailangan tulong, you want to see me, or even if it's not me nga, you want to see someone, no? Because it looks like you've done so well for yourself, and as you show, matagal ka nga dito. So don't just let it go. Don't if nothing else, kahit wala kang magagawa muna nga dito ngayon, it could be that there's certain things that you can do, documents that you should keep, no? Now, with the view to preparing an application which will hopefully be successful, maybe in a year's time or 6 months time or 2 years time. So it doesn't hurt to take advice po, even if you can't do anything now.
Yes. Meron akong alam, attorney, hindi ko na isasabihin ng pangalan. Nagulat ako eh. Nasa midst ng community. Talagang pala yun, tao na yun, no? And nasa midst natin, nasa midst ng ano, no? Meron ako, sa bagay, well, yun naman, ano, kunyari, may magugulat ako, tagal-tagal na rito, and then eventually you'd find out na, ano lang pala, Philippine passport pa rin, no? Well, I don't know, well, anyway, so, I don't
Well,
want to
look,
dwell on that,
I
no?
mean,
Mm.
if you think about it, no, kung wala nga silang status dito, can you imagine how much harder it's been, no, to achieve what they have achieved? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the amount of hard work that they must have had to undertake nga, no, with the limitations that they have. So, I know, well done
Pero
them.
negosyong ano to, under the table to, hindi pwedeng negosyong ano to, 'di ba? Well, I remember, you know what, attorney, when I was kind of new in the UK, alam mo, I was making quite a good sum of money. Alam mo nung araw, ang pinagkakitaan ko, katuan yung phone cards, yung mga Go
Oh,
Bananas nga ba yun? Naalala mo ba yung mga cards nung araw? Usong-uso yan
yeah,
eh, mga
yung
ano.
mga phone
So
cards,
what
oo
I would
nga.
do,
Yeah.
I would buy wholesale sa Chinatown, and then I'll resell it. Yung nakatuwaan ko lang noon, yung mga extra money ba? Ba, laki na kinikita ko ron, attorney. Ah. Tapos there
Yeah.
was one time, nakaranas din ako ng bigas. Titinda ako ng bigas. Kasi meron akong RAV4, yung 4x4. So pupunta ako sa Costco, bibili ako ng maraming bigas. Ba, sinusupply ko yun sa mga nurses, attorney. Kumikita rin ako ron.
Tignan mo.
Yes,
Tignan mo.
so yun, di mo na
Yeah.
kailangan ng lisensya. Wala kang licenses, wala ka no, pero kumikita ka, di ba? So, baka ganun ang negosyo
Tayo,
nitong tao to, no? Hmm.
we are a culture of entrepreneurs, no?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think we probably have a considerably higher proportion of self-employed people, tayong mga Pinoy,
Mm.
by comparison to potentially others, no? It never ceases to amaze me, no? How we can be so, masipag tayo, no?
Marami ako
Something
sideline,
to be
attorney.
proud of.
When I was working for a while. Yeah, I was working for a while at the Royal Brompton Hospital, NHS Trust. I was a outpatient services administrator. Okay, so when we'd go back home to the Philippines, ang ginagawa ko sa Divisoria, I don't know if you're familiar with Divisoria. Napunta ka na ba sa Divisoria?
Mm.
Okay,
Oh,
sa Divisoria,
absolutely.
lahat ng fake dyan, mga fake mga bags na designer bags, yung mga may pangalan. So gagawin ko, magdadala ko marami. Alam mo doon sa Royal Brompton Hospital, ang dami ko nabenta ng bags.
Taga.
Tuwan-tuwa na sila, maski fake yung mga bag nila, mga Louis Vuitton, kung ano-ano yan. Kaya lang, parang maluwag nun eh. But after that, pag nahulihan ka, delikado eh. Dahil pag nahulihan ka ng mga counterfeit na mga ano, di ba? So natutuwa lang kasi ako dahil you don't need a business license. You don't need anything. Kung marunong ka sumimple, no? Parang ano yan eh, parang underground economy, no? Di ba? So, ayan,
Yeah,
nakakatuwa.
no, no,
And I'm sure
absolutely.
yung mga kababayan natin, dito, alam mo, hindi ko alam kung nababalita mo, ang dami binibenta ng mga kapwa Pinoy natin dito eh. Bebenta ng mga, yung mga pabango, yung mga marami binibenta eh, na ano, na mga, yung mga multi-level marketing. Ano yan, mga
Mm.
negosyo yan eh, di ba, attorney? Multi-level.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
teka muna, pasok natin yung mga pagbati dyan. May pagbati pa ba tayo direct? Patapos na tayo ng ano? Sige. Ano pa ba yung mga nandyan? Oh,
Kay
ano yan?
yeah, galing po kay
Oy,
Ana Lu Antipuesto. Happy
pwesto,
Thursday,
oo.
Kuya Sonny and Attorney. Yeah, yep. Hi, Ana Lu.
Matagal-tagal na yata natin hindi napapakinggan si Anulu, ha? Ayan, si Carl, ayan, si Liza. Anulu, hi, hello. Si Carl, ayan,
So yeah. So Carl Liza, yeah.
pakibasa,
Thanks for
attorney.
this topic. Thanks for this topic. Ang ganda. More power, Sony and Lira. Great partnership nyo para makasupport sa community. God bless po. To you too. Thank
Oy,
you po.
salamat,
Thank you.
salamat. Yeah, we've been doing this for over a year now, a year and a half yata, no? More than. Okay, ayan, si Milares Pantoa. Salamat po sa napakagandang ano yan, topic po and advice.
Napakaganda
Hindi,
topic.
maganda to. Actually, marami pa akong gustong tanong and to dwell on it. Kaya lang, para to give way for some questions. Kasi medyo intriguing ako. I'm trying to find out, mga scenarios, paano, kasi sinabi pa ni attorney na parang, yun nga, parang siguro, are we going to be campaigning? Kasi sabi mo, for the future naman eh. The past, you were campaigning in 1997, no, for this thing. Tapos, nagkaroon ng changes in 2012. Ngayon, di ba? Anong gusto natin? Maibalik ulit?
Absolutely,
Pre-2000,
yeah.
April 6, 2012, no? Okay. All right. Sige, ano pa yung mga pagbati niyan, sweetheart? Sweetheart. Direct, ayun. Ayan, direct pa, ayan. Okay. Ano pa ba? Yun na ba yung last natin? Ayun na yan. Yun na yata yun. So far, ayan, salamat daw. Napakasalamat. Salamat sa magandang topic. Okidoki, okay. Well, napakasarap, attorney, no? We've had a lot of interaction from our kababayans and it's nice, no? Nakakatuwa. It's really nakakatuwa, no? So, yeah, I guess siguro pa tayo ay magpapaalam na, no? Napakarami na nating mga tanong at wag ho kayong magsawa, no? So magano kayo, magtawag-tawag lang ho kayo, mag-message lang ho kayo sa amin. Okay, attorney, how do they get hold of you? Paano 'yan? And paano? At siyempre, magpaalam na tayo, no? Sige, go ahead, attorney.
Okay. Okay. So ito po, kung meron pa kayong mga questions po, hindi namin nating ngayon. So ito pong email ko, kabatbat, yung apelyido ko, kabatbat at Douglas 2S, no? Tapos -simon.com. May telepono po kami, telephone number 0203-375-0355. But basically, mas maganda siguro kung mag-email kayo sa akin. Gustong tawagan ko kayo, happy to call you, of course. Just email me please your number, especially yung mga may questions nga, no, if you want to discuss it further with me. Ito pong email ko, kabatbat@douglas-simon.com. Now, as usual po, I mean, I know every week sinasabi ko to, but talaga, it is a humbling experience, no, to be part of this nga. And enjoy nga ako, no, na you very kindly watching and you're interacting nga. So it truly is a happy Thursday. Salamat po. And hopefully you join us again next week, no?
Hindi ka na UK star, attorney. You are also a European and a world star because people who are reacting to us and commenting are coming from all different parts of the world. No? So mabuhay. Mabuhay ko kayo. And thank you for coming in. Mabuhay. Thank you. Tuloy kayo, kabayan. Well, I guess it's time. Tama ka. I agree. I second the motion, si attorney. It's really, really, well, humbling because andiyan ho kayo and it's really, truly enjoyable dahil it's like a singer no, na knowing that the audience is there, no, rather than singing to an empty crowd, no. Alam namin andiyan kayo and you're participating and you're acknowledging us, no, and also for the kind words and the sweet words. Hearing guwapong Sonny Laragan, legendary Sonny Laragan, these are all wag naman yung sabihin na ano, no, parang yung tenga ko ho, medyo nakikiliti ho, no? Nakakatawa. But thank you very much, thank you, no?
Alright, yeah.
Ganun lang talaga eh. We're friends eh. Pagka magkakaibigan, kailangan, siyempre, let's say, meron tayong mutual, ano ba tawag doon? Mutual, ano may word doon eh? Mutual Admiration Society, no? Di ba? Parang gano'n, di ba? We love you all, everybody as well, no? Pero totoo, attorney, you're blooming, ha? I like the color of your attire, di ba? And we hindi tayo nag-usap pero we have the same shade. Yeah, oh, nagkaroon ng ano,
Yeah.
nag-macho yung aming suot ni attorney. Ayan. So, maraming salamat to sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay sa amin ni attorney Lira SIMON-CABATBAT and keeping us company every Thursday evening, no? Let's make it a habit. Let's make it a habit magsama-sama. Thank you very much. So let's do it again next Thursday, no? Doon sa ating another happy Thursday dito ho sa Immigration Corner. So till then, this is Sunny here and on behalf of Attorney Lira SIMON-CABATBAT and our director Paula Perez, say good night, take care, God bless, and bye-bye.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you. So you can be there for them.